Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Headline edition will bring you special reports and interviews in a moment.
How you doing? This is the guy from Pittsburgh with my second podcast, and I listened to Future Theater, which was actually mostly past theater because they talked about everything from the JFK assassination to Dorothy Kilgallen to Anne Frank to Jewish dietary laws. Who knew Bill Burns was Jewish? And the problem with Jewish dietary laws, if you're a Reformed Jew, you can eat things that are treif, excuse me, like shellfish, lobster, crab, shrimp, pork ribs, pork chops, pork spare ribs. You just feel guilty about it. It was a pretty good show. I hadn't listened to Future Theater before, but afterwards I went to turn on my TV and the cable went out. So it's probably all the fault of either Bill Burns or the Hasidim, who got revenge for Burns divulging all our deep, dark dietary secrets and the over 600 commandments to the Goyim. Curse you, Bill Burns. Anyway, they're having kind of a blizzard back there where they live. So I hope all it was well for them, and I hope their new magazine goes well too. Nancy got a little strange when they're talking about ripples and urine going out over the waters. I suggested she call the new magazine Ancient Urinals, which got a laugh from her. And eventually I'll be doing a parody of Ancient Aliens once I get over this sinus infection, bronchitis. I'll have to go to San Francisco and do my filming. I also found out something curious today. The building I live in is, the wiring's so old here that if you get a flat screen TV, they have to come in and drill a new receptacle in the wall and run new wiring because the old plugs in this 60-year-old, more than 60-year-old, is built like 1958, won't handle the wiring load, won't power the new televisions. So that's a drawback when they tell you to go to a flat screen to be energy efficient. There's not enough power to run the energy efficient television. I still got an old school TV in the living room and a small color TV in the bedroom. Eventually I'll get one of those antennas for digital and put that in the bedroom and watch TV in there. This weekend I'll finally have the bedroom done, and then I can start recording from my video camera in the bedroom. Anyway, let's see what to talk about. Well, I got stories here, and let me go to them. I gotta close all these windows. Let's see. Here's a weird story. There's a Brazilian wandering spider. The venom, it's known as the banana spider, or more formally, Phenutria nigriventer, causes erections in men. The venom of the Phenutria nigriventer spider is a rich mixture of several molecules, says Dr. Xenia Nunes, a physiologist at the Medical College of Georgia. These molecules are called toxins, and we have various toxins in this venom with different activity. When a human is bitten by this spider, We can observe many different symptoms, including priapism, a condition in which the penis is continually erect. In addition to the hours-long painful erection, the wandering spider's bite can cause loss of muscle control, severe pain, difficulty breathing, and if not treated, death due to oxygen deprivation. With antivenom, the victim usually recovers in a week. So I don't know what they do during that week. I guess it's the weird alternative to Viagra. I happen to be allergic to spider bites, so if one of those things never gets in this apartment. I'm also allergic to bee stings. Here's a weird story from about a year ago. Man wins dumpling eating contest, then dies. Ukraine dumpling eating contest to find the person who can eat 10 of the dough balls most quickly went horribly wrong when the 77-year-old champion keeled over and died. The winner, Ivan Mendo, had won his prize, a 1-liter jar of sour cream. Oh, such a prize. I guess sour cream must be a rare commodity in the Ukraine, or they would put it on their borscht or shav. He began to feel ill. He got sick and fell to the ground. He probably choked to death, said a doctor. He was already dead when he hit the ground. And dumplings, known as Ukraine as vareniki, are a staple of the regional diet. They're stuffed with mushrooms, potatoes, or cherries. Organizers of the event said the dumplings they used filled potatoes have been frozen and packaged and bought from a local supermarket. And first they struck back, saying that the dumplings didn't kill him. He ate the 10 dumplings in half a minute, which is awfully fast. And officials in the city refused to comment. Representatives had attended Mendel's funeral. So that was that story. There's a story about a man in a dog shirt. Now, this is a pug, Tertiary Iman's favorite. And speaking of that, hello, Bill Gab and Free Art Bell. He published a picture of him wearing a dog on his shirt, and the dog was wearing a picture of him, and it looks very strange. I'm sure you can find that somewhere on the internet. This is Chris Bowser, a war veteran who was struck by a grenade while serving in Iraq. He has a nonprofit, Heroes Meeting Heroes, to give other wounded soldiers the opportunity to meet some of their heroes. So that's the man in the dog shirt with the pug. Let's see. Our International Space Station may be under observation by UFOs. The UFOs have a vigilant watch over us and our ISS activities. Streetcapped UFO Media News reported that a UFO has been captured near the International Space Station on film. Street Caps on YouTube has recorded the UFO's penetration near the International Space Station. The UFO expels a light that is coming from underneath, shading the outer wall of the ISS. Researchers and UFOologists hold the opinion light emitted by this UFO is something unknown to most of us. We're concerned about the nature of light that has been shaded over the outer wall of the ISS. The hovering of crafts near the International Space Station is not a new phenomenon. We observe the penetration of UFOs on a daily basis, but we're concerned about its light. This news spread like wildfire on the internet. People start commenting it, and a fan of ufology, Swashbuckling, that's got to be a pseudonym, wrote in his comments on StreetCap, "We know that our growing penetration in the sky is something related to UFOs. It's a reason they use to check our activities. The few minutes footage show the movement of the UFO and how it emits its light. This is an astounding clip, no doubt. This is not the first time objects have been observed near the ISS. There are plenty of reports, clips, and news stories showing movement of UFOs near the space station. Were they observing us, or were they preparing for something more threatening? Only time will tell. Okay, let's see here. Dog spitting. This is from 2008, Bulgarian. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. It's a ritual formerly practiced in a village in Bulgaria. In dog spitting, a dog is suspended above water on a rope. The dog is returned repeatedly in a given direction to wind the rope, then released so it spins rapidly in the opposite direction as the rope unwinds. The ancient ritual of pagan origin was performed in order to prevent rabies. Well, there's a tribe in South America that does much the same thing, but they do it to discuss their knowledge of the dog star Sirius. And the UK Green Party released a article on this in 2005 saying it was cruel to animals, and eventually the ritual was banned by the mayor of Sarajevo and after complaint of Bulgarian animal welfare organizations. So no more dog spitting in Bulgaria. All right. Here's a woman. This is a recent story in the last 4 days. Authorities arrested a woman they believe left a small alligator at O'Hare Airport late last year. No word on whether or not this alligator is one of those reptilian aliens or not. In a news release, Chicago police said 29-year-old Alexis Prokopchuk of Oakbrook Terrace, she was charged with misdemeanor counts of reckless conduct and cruelty to animals. The 2-foot-long alligator was spotted and captured in a baggage claim area on November 1st of last year. They recovered security footage that showed a woman with an alligator under her arm boarding a train, then chatting on a cell phone while the animal sat in her hand on her knee. An hour later, she got off at the airport. She could not be reached for comment Wednesday. Her phone listing was disconnected. Now, how'd you like to be picking up your luggage and there's this 2-foot-long alligator coming down the carousel? That would be a hell of a shock. Oh, here's a funny story. In Wyoming, there was a road sign. I guess Art Bell and Whitney Strieber were right for about 30 seconds. Instead of saying 35 miles an hour, a sign operator added another 5, which made the sign read 355 miles an hour. And it was posted for 17 minutes before the department noticed the mistake and correcting it. One wag posted a photo of the sign with the comment, Casper, Wyoming, where tornadoes live, 355 miles an hour. I wonder whatever happened to those houses that Art Bell used to talk about, where this guy designed them that they would withstand the winds of a 300-mile-an-hour storm. We never heard about that again, as far as I know. And in Indonesia, you have weird thieves, a condom robbery. This happened 2 years ago. Malaysian police said they're investigating the disappearances of more than 700,000 condoms went missing in transit between Malaysia and Japan. Japan's first condom maker said the shipment was loaded in the container, but it was empty when the locks replaced when it arrived in Tokyo. Sounds like work of Harry Houdini's ghost or something. We take the matter of the missing condoms very seriously. We are investigating the matter, said a Malaysian police official. The prophylactics, which the company bills it as 14% thinner than conventional ones, are worth $1.5 million at Japanese retail prices. So they're gonna, I don't know if they ever found those condoms or not, but that was a curious story. Let's see what else is here. I guess Mr. T might show up at this town. Pity Me is a village in County Durham in England. Other instances of the name can be found in Hexhamshire and near Morpeth. Pity Me is located north of Framwellgate Moor and west of Newton Hall, the home of the Amazon Center, one of Durham's retail parks. So Pity Me must be right next to Pity the Fool, I guess. Let's see. Here's a post for Belgab's Jasmunda. New Zealand was undiscovered and completely devoid of human beings no more than 800 years ago. So how'd all those sheep get there? They must have brought them in on ships or something. What was living there before humans? Let's see. That's another story. And here's one that role players everywhere should protest. No more fantasy life for prisoners. The U.S. Court of Appeal has upheld a ruling that bans Dungeons and Dragons from a Wisconsin prison. This is from 2 years ago. Kevin Singer, an inmate who's serving life in Wisconsin's Waupun Correctional Institution, had been a fan of the fantasy game since childhood. He was first incarcerated in 2002. He had a significant collection of books and paraphernalia centered around the game. In 2004, an anonymous note alerted prison officials to the subculture that can form between avid players. The letter expressed concern Singer and 3 other inmates are forming a D&D gang when trying to recruit others to join by passing around their D&D publications and touting the rush they got from playing the game. Shortly thereafter, prison officials raided his cell and confiscated everything related to the game they could find, including 21 books, 14 magazines, and a 96-page handwritten manuscript that Singer produced himself. All inmates were prohibited from engaging in all types of fantasy games. When Singer protested by filing a complaint to the prison complaint system, it was dismissed. He filed a civil rights complaint in federal court alleging his rights to free speech and due process have been violated. He produced evidence from D&D experts as well as several inmates arguing that no gang activity was taking place, nor had D&D ever led to gang activity in the past. Prison officials countered with arguments that cooperative games can mimic the organizational structure of gangs and prison security is paramount. Well, these guys are being ridiculous. I played D&D for years. Everybody I knew at one time was playing D&D, and you went home and you stopped being a mage or a cleric or a fighter or the dungeon master. You know, with all the worries they got in prisons, these guys were trying to do something to take care of their time, particularly when you got a life sentence. It could lead, the prisoners say, it could lead to gang behavior and undermine prison security. Oh yeah, they're going to roll their saving throw, or they're going to use their D&D manuals and dig a tunnel. Come on, guys. Yeah, this guy Singer is serving a life sentence for stabbing his sister's boyfriend. And the story that I'm reading from says they'll have to spend their time now bulking up in the gym. I'd rather have them wimp out and play D&D. That's a terrible story. Here's a story. This is recently. Ibiza holiday jet in near miss with UFO over Reading. Any pilot flying holidaymakers between Manchester and Ibiza must be prepared for outlandish sights. The captain of a Thomas Cook airliner flying tourists back from the Spanish holiday island north of England reported a near miss the rugby ball-shaped UFO which passed within feet of his jet. The encounter was reported to the aviation authorities, who launched an investigation, but no earthly identity for the object could be established. It was disclosed this month to the Daily Telegraph. A report of the inquiry was published. did not identify the aircraft involved. They later determined the aircraft was a A320, made in 2003. It was flying from Manchester to Ibiza on July 19, 2013. Flying at 516 miles an hour at an altitude of 34,000 feet when it was passed by the UFO. Excuse me. The captain said the object traveled toward a jet out of a left-hand side cockpit window, heading directly for the jet. There was no time for the aircrew to take evasive action. He was certain the object was going to crash into his aircraft and ducked its head toward him. The incident was investigated by the UK Air Proxy Board, which studies near misses involving aircraft in British airspace. The captain was under the apprehension that they were on collision course with no time to react. His immediate reaction was to duck to the right, reach over to alert the first officer. There was no time to talk to alert him. The captain was fully expecting to experience some kind of impact with a conflicting aircraft. He told investigators he believes the object passed within a few feet above the jet. It was cigar rugby ball-like in shape, bright silver, and apparently metallic in construction. Data recordings were checked to establish what other aircraft were in the area at the time. All were eliminated. The investigation ruled out, hear this, U.S. Air Force and U.S. government, meteorological balloons. After checking, none were released to the facility. Toy balloons were discounted as they were not large enough to reach such heights. Military radar operators were contacted but unable to trace the object. And the Ministry of Defense closed its UFO disc. The Civil Aviation Authority said it would continue to look into such reports because they could have implications for flight safety. In 2012, the head of National Air Traffic Control Services admitted staff detected one unexplained flying object every month. That means there's a lot of those flying around the skies of Britain. And here's a story, and I saw her pictures. She's a cute teenager. Girl eats nothing but McDonald's chicken nuggets for 15 years and lives. Chicken nugget fan Stacy Irvine has been warned they are killing her because the 70-year-old has eaten practically nothing but chicken nuggets since the age of 2. Horrified doctors learned of her 15-year-old addiction after she collapsed and was rushed to a hospital struggling to breathe. Factory worker Stacy, who has never touched greens or fruit, was found to have anemia and swollen veins in her tongue. She was recovering at home, being put on an urgent course of vitamins, which started in the hospital injections. But despite medics begging her to change her diet, she still cannot get enough of chicken nuggets. Stacy of Birmingham in England, I am starting to realize this is really bad for me. McDonald's chicken nuggets and KFC are my favorites. My main meal is always chicken nuggets. Her mother is battling to get her seen by a specialist. I'm on my wit's end and praying she can be helped before it's too late. It breaks my heart to see her eating those damn nuggets. These must be demonic nuggets, like the people that called Knapp the other night, thinking the UFOs, Bigfoot, and everything else are demons. And the girl says, I couldn't face trying other foods. Mom gave up giving me anything else years ago. The rest of the family, including the other children, eat healthily. She once tried starving Stacy to get her to eat more nutritious foods, but nothing happened. Her daughter's craving has sparked another headache. Where to store all the free toys and novelties she's connected with her nugget meals. They fill 4 bin bags. Well, she could sell that stuff on eBay and make some money. I don't know if she'd make money to buy more chicken nuggets. I've eaten the McDonald's chicken nuggets. They don't thrill me. And Wendy's changed theirs. They made them spicy. So you can't, and their sandwiches too. You can't eat those things anymore. Let's see here. Find another story. I like this one. Cat fans out there. This is from 2012. Cat runs for office in Russia. A cat followed the example of a fellow Virginia-faced cat to launch a political career, aiming for a seat in the legislature of the country's fourth biggest city. He'd definitely win the vote, said Ivan Kolotovkin, a spokesman for the 3-month-old Bublik. He's neither left nor right, will never be affiliated with any party. The kitten's political ambitions were announced this weekend on Fluntatke and Facebook. Between the two, both Bublik pages collected just under 200 supporters as of Monday evening, but likes are accumulating fast. A rally of Bublik supporters will take place shortly in Yekaterinburg, the unofficial capital of the Urals region. So far, Bublik's campaign program has not gone beyond anti-neutering and lower cat food prices. But his owner said the cat will study the political environment and proposals by his supporters to formulate a platform that will appeal to humans. Bublik, a white black-nosed tabby whose name means bagel, is likely to kickstart his career through the elections in Yekaterinburg, a city of 1.4 million set for March of last year. He's the best because he's the only politician who gives no promises. Bublik and his owner not hide the fact they were inspired by Hank, an 8-year-old Maine Coon who ran for the Senate as an independent candidate in Virginia. And Hank's campaign promised to fight joblessness and milk in every bowl across the nation. It got him 21,000 likes on Facebook. And I don't know what the results were for that one. The favorite horse of the Emperor Caligula was made a senator in the 1st century and put forth for consulate, but Caligula was murdered before he sealed the nomination, so there is some precedent here. And there were Woodrow and Percy dogs who ran for the Texas governorship, and there is a dog who's a mayor of a city in Alaska, so that's that story. Think that most cats I've known make more sense than most human politicians. And let's see, elves sparked a road building protests in Iceland. Environmentalists have staged a high-profile protest against a road scheduled to cut through an area of volcanic rock on the Álftanes Peninsula not far from Reykjavik. It's only one of countless eco-protests in the world, but the campaign has made international news because some of the protesters claim the proposed road would disturb the habitat of elves who live among the rocks. Elves mostly come from Norse mythology. So many Icelanders believe in this. The passed down tales are just part of the picture. Iceland's concept of the natural world takes on a mystical tone. Pair that with environmentalism, the want to preserve this mystical world and magical creatures almost makes sense. Let's see. So that's that story. And the late Nelson Mandela, well, there's a big to-do about his statue because the artist who made a 29.5-foot sculpture of Mandela put a little tiny bunny rabbit inside one of his bronze ears. South African officials want the miniature bunny removed from the statue, which was unveiled outside the government complex. You ever notice governments have no sense of humor or wonder? They're always so damn serious. The Departments of Arts and Culture said it didn't know the two sculptors, Andre Prinsloo and Ruben Janse van Voren, had added a rabbit, said to be a discreet signature on their work. Well, that means they're trying to deface their artwork. The bronze rabbit, sitting on his haunches with one floppy ear, is about half the height of the ear canal. It doesn't belong there, said Mogu Motsi Mogodiri. How'd you like to say that 3 times fast? A department spokesman, the statue represents what everyone in South Africa is proud of. Well, they got something about against bunny rabbits, huh? Don't have Bugs Bunny go over there. His department said in a statement there are discussions on how best to retain the integrity of the sculpture without causing damage or disfigurement. In other words, pull the rabbit out of the ear without botching the statue. The giant work stands with arms outstretched, symbolizing Mandela's devotion to inclusiveness outside the Union buildings where the body of the prisoner who opposed white rule and became South Africa's first black president lay in state after his death in December at the age of 95. Telephone calls to the artist and emails were not returned. South American's Bild newspaper quoted the artist saying they added the rabbit as a trademark after officials would not allow them to engrave their signatures on the statue's trousers. They also said the rabbit represented the pressure of finishing the sculpture on time because haast, the word for rabbit in the Dutch-based Afrikaans, means also haste. Arts and Culture Minister said the sculptors have apologized for any offense who felt the rabbit was disrespectful toward the legacy of Mandela. How can a bunny rabbit be disrespectful to anybody? There's another guy. He's all bent out of shape. CEO Dali Tambo, son of anti-apartheid figure Oliver Tambo, said he was furious when he heard about the rabbit and said it must go. The statue isn't a statue of a man, it's a statue of a struggle, one of the most noble in human history. It's belittling, in my opinion. You take it in a jocular way and adding rabbits to the ear. It would be like depicting Barack Obama with a mouse in his nose. That'd be kind of funny, I think so. The artist who belonged to South Africa's white Afrikaner minority. Do I detect a hint of reverse racism here? Were selected for their talent, but in part because the project was a multiracial effort in keeping Mandela's principle of reconciliation. Their signatures could be added on the statue in a discreet place such as Mandela's heel. Well, I'm going to say one thing. Free the bunny! Leave the bunny alone! You either accept the artwork as it is, or you leave it the hell alone. They put the bunny there for a reason, because they were ticked off. Leave the bunny rabbit alone. Besides, it would give people something to talk about. Most statues that you see out there are boring. Nobody, in about 50 years, everybody goes, what's that statue? Who's that guy? Nobody knows who that is. Let's see, here's another story. This one's a lot more dangerous. The Icelandic death frog. This comes from 2011. The guy's 1 inch long. He's a little tiny, cute little green frog. He killed 4 whole families, 129 people in the mountains of Iceland. Sorry, Iceland, not Ireland. From birth, these little creatures have enough venom in their one bite to kill 4 humans. They have a small needle-sharp injector under their tongue. Death comes in 30 seconds through complete paralysis of the nervous system. There are only 20 recorded sightings of this ultra-rare animal. It's rumored the monks in the period of 879 to 930 used these frogs to kill off thousands of Norsemen. They have a defensive display in which the body is lifted up into the erect position. The first pair of legs are lifted high while the entire frog sways from side to side with hind legs in a cocked position. Its venom contains a potent neurotoxin known as TX3, which acts as a broad-spectrum calcium channel blocker that inhibits glutamate release, calcium uptake, and glutamate uptake in neural synapses. At deadly concentrations, it causes loss of muscle control and breathing problems, resulting in paralysis and eventual asphyxiation, usually in under a minute. The venom causes intense pain and inflammation following a bite, and triggers inflammation and pain. So watch out for that. If you go to Iceland, watch out for this little frog. And here's a story for tertiary imam. United Arab Emirates man beats up imam for refusing to perform exorcism. An imam of a mosque in Sharjah, UAE, was beaten up by a local man for refusing to chase away an evil spirit from his body. So the demon people are out there, the exorcism people are out there. That was from 2011. And let's see. And here's a story. I'll put this on in honor of Nancy Burns. Cow urine promoted for health benefits. An alternative medicine promoted by a Hindu group in India is getting some attention. I bet it is. Cow urine is a treatment for numerous diseases, including cancer, diabetes, and tuberculosis. But not just any cow urine will do, no. According to the followers of the hardline Rashtriya Swaya Msevak San RSS sect. I thought RSS was that thing with news groups. Only the urine collected from a female virgin cow, yes folks, will suffice, and it's best when collected before dawn. I wonder if they find it and the cow is lying in a coffin. Cow urine offers a cure for around 70 to 80 incurable diseases like diabetes, said Om Prakash of the RSS Cow Protection Department told Reuters. All are curable by cow urine. So I guess that'll be in your local Safeway real soon now, the cow urine treatment. Or maybe right next to the Carnivora. Let's see. Here's a weird story. This was from 2 years ago. Police in Boulder, Colorado searched for a man who hid inside a portable toilet at a yoga festival. A woman went to use the toilet and told police, she noticed something moving inside the tank. When she lifted the seat, she believed there was a person inside the toilet, so she went to get help. A man who was standing nearby went to check, and he also saw someone inside the tank covered by a tarp. He told security and heard the door lock from the inside. Now, where the hell is the guy gonna go? If he's in the toilet, there's no way out of that thing. A festival security supervisor waited outside for several minutes, then saw a suspect emerge from the toilet. The supervisor trying to detain the suspect, but he ran away covered in feces. Yuck. Would you try to detain someone if they were covered in human detritus? I wouldn't. The suspect was a 20 years old, white, very tall, thin, and was wearing dark gray sweatpants, no shirt or shoes. Witnesses told the police the suspect had several cuts in his back and legs. He was wearing leather bracelets on each wrist. I don't know what is that, like the crappy Wonder Man instead of Wonder Woman. And there are a couple of weird facts here. Less than a month after the first traffic light went operational, it exploded and killed the unfortunate traffic cop who was operating it. There's one. And oh, I love this one. This is right down the paranormal alley and the UFO alley. I didn't see this in UFO magazine or on Nori. 2 men claim to be abducted by aliens with carrot-like faces and lobster claw hands. Talk about trafe. The local sheriff left them alone and secretly recorded them. I don't know if that means he recorded the, I guess it means he recorded the 2 guys, not the aliens. Expecting a hoax to be revealed, but they continue to discuss the events with each other as if they were terrified. Hey, Bill and Nancy, you get any updates on this story? Because I'd like to know what was going on with that one. Lobster carrot-faced aliens. Is this the Bugs Bunny from deep space? In 1669, Henning Braun discovered phosphorus by boiling down urine and heating the residue to very high temperatures. He was trying to make gold, though, and he hoped the yellow color of urine meant there was gold in it. Well, they say there's gold in them dar hills, but I don't think there's gold in them dar urinals. And this one personally disturbs me because I drink this stuff, and I don't like hearing this. Tropicana OJ is owned by Pepsi and Simply Orange by Coca-Cola, and I'm drinking water. I reuse the bottles for water out of a Tropicana Trop 50 no pulp bottle. They strip the juice of oxygen for better storage, which strips the flavor. Then they hire flavor and fragrance companies who formulate perfumes for Dior to engineer flavor packs to add to the juice to make it fresh. Oh, I'm real thrilled about that. My $2.50 bottle of orange juice just doesn't feel as good anymore. I went to a tree down the street, by the way, the other day. There's orange trees and lemon trees all over Martinez. So I said, well, I'll grab a couple of these oranges, because I went to Food Max. 1 orange was $1.25. And I said, well, maybe I can get some oranges off this tree, because a lot of them were on the ground. They split open and fall to the ground. Well, I cut one open and took a bite out of it. It was like trying to take a bite out of the world's tartest lemon. So I don't know how long it takes for an orange to ripen, but these things weren't ripe. And let's see. Here's a California story from 2 years ago. Jose Luis Ochoa of Lamont, California, 35, was declared dead at the hospital 2 hours after he was injured. There was a cockfight. The rooster attacked him and was sliced by the razor in one of the bird's legs. So don't get near the bird. Let's see. Is there dark matter around the Earth? This is a recent story. New research suggests the Earth may be heavier than believed due to the presence of dark matter. Dark matter is a theoretical type of matter believed to make up a large percentage of the mass of the universe. It can't be observed directly, must be like them rods Bill was talking about, and there is no guarantee it actually exists at all. But the enigmatic material has been a staple of cosmological science for years. Research suggested it might not only exist out in space, but maybe in present around the Earth as well. In 2009, scientists at Princeton were investigating anomalous changes in the speeds of space probes in orbit around the Earth, and theorized it could be caused by the presence of dark matter. More recently, Ben Harris of the University of Texas conducted similar research to discover anomalies in the Earth's mass. His findings indicated there could be a band of dark matter around the Earth, measuring 45,000 miles wide and 120 miles thick. Well, if you can't see it, how are you going to know it's there? Maybe we need to sprinkle the flour I suggested for those rods. Go up in an airplane and just sprinkle a whole bunch of flour, slightly dampened flour, and that stuff would show up just like the rods would. And Bill and Nancy and the guests were talking about the JFK assassination. There's so much stuff with that you can write a book a week for forever, practically. I remember when we were told all those documents of the Warren Commission would be sealed for 50 years. And, well, I don't remember when they sealed them. I figured 1964, 65. So any day now, those documents should be unsealed unless the government decides that they're too dangerous to unseal. Just like those 3 prophecies of Fatima that the late Father Malachi Martin talked about. And what he said was in there was a whole different thing than what the Pope says in it when he revealed what the 3rd secret is. But if you believe the Warren Commission, I got a new bridge across the bay I could sell you. Because this single bullet theory is ridiculous. They talked about it last night on Future Theater. There were probably 5, maybe 6 bullets floating around. And I've even read reports they had guys shooting in front of the car, behind the car, to the side of the car. And of course the old canard of the Secret Service agent shooting Kennedy who was driving the car, although that's been discounted. There's so many weird stuff about the assassination. Strippers saying that Ruby and Oswald were lovers that worked for Jack Ruby. Other ones saying that the assassination was being planned weeks before the assassination. A sheriff's deputy finding a .45 bullet on the ground right after the shooting. He gave it to someone who was supposedly an FBI agent. The bullet disappeared. We'll probably never know who really killed Kennedy, although the list of suspects is as long as your arm. The Mafia, the Federal Reserve Bank, the head of the CIA, LBJ, Sam Giancana, Trafficante of New Orleans. I can't remember his first name. I know that Johnny Roselli was supposed to be involved. They found him in a barrel off of Miami, all cut up. Nixon was supposedly there. George Bush was supposedly there. Both of them couldn't remember where the hell they were that day. Yet every American, like Pearl Harbor, knows where they were when JFK was shot. I was at a military school in Maryland, and we were doing rifle practice with M1s. And when the news came over the loudspeaker, I was walking underneath the rifles as they were being thrown across to each cadet. And the damn things almost killed me because everybody dropped the rifle. Nobody caught it. They were so shocked. We were due to go home because that was Thanksgiving weekend. And they sent everybody home early because they thought it was a harbinger for an attack by the Soviet Union on America. Kill the president. Who knew who else was going to be killed? And witnesses have died. Witnesses committed suicide by launching themselves through windows. Guys were shot. There was a guy that sold a car, a Ford station wagon, to Lee Harvey Oswald. The only problem is Oswald didn't know how to drive. And shortly, within about a year or two, that salesman was found dead. And Dorothy Kilgallen was going to blow the whistle on the whole story. She interviewed Jack Ruby in jail, and she told people she was going to write a book. She was also going to blow the whole whistle on the UFO subject. Well, she was found, quote, accidentally dead. Yet they had 3 different times when her body is discovered. It sounds like Pope John Paul I, his body was discovered under suspicious circumstances too. And lo and behold, as usual, like Nikola Tesla, all her files in the matter disappeared. Her own husband said that when asked, "I can't tell you what was in her files. I'll have to take that secret to the grave," and I guess he did. So, you know, I got a book on Giancana in my bedroom. They killed him while he was cooking a pot of spaghetti and sausages. But, and he was involved with the Judith Exner and other women who were also involved with Kennedy. The mafia was ticked off that RFK went after the mafia after John Kennedy became president. But if you believe it was a lone nut like Arthur Bremer, James Earl Ray, Ciaran, Mark David Chapman, and the guy that shot John Lennon, well, I feel sorry for you, because some of these people, I think, were psychologically controlled to kill these people. Others, like Oswald, had doubles. And one of the things that Bill Burns mentioned about Oswald and Tippit, well, Tippit was shot with an automatic, but reports at the time saying Oswald was carrying a revolver. Now, I've been robbed at gunpoint 3 times when I worked on Graveyard, and I know the difference between an automatic and a revolver. And what I was hit with in 2 cases were automatics. The 3rd case was an 1860 Navy Colt revolver. So that's kind of a cute trick. Also, a new witness came forth recently who worked at the Texas School Book Depository, and she said Lee Harvey Oswald was not on the 6th floor at the time of the shooting. He was in the lunchroom. And that's not the first person to say this. Someone in a station wagon leaving the front of the depository was seen. It looked exactly like Oswald. So that's why there's so much stuff in this. I have a friend who still believes to this day that Oswald was a lone shooter. He doesn't believe in multiple shooters or conspiracies, and I think, frankly, I've known him since 1977, and he won't listen to reason. There's so much evidence in this. This is a friend of mine that sticks his head in the sand on this subject, much like skeptics stick their head in the sand on UFOs and the religious wackos that call Art and Nori and Knapp and maybe John Wells, who think that Bigfoot, UFOs, Chupacabra are all demonic. And I personally hope one day the UFOs land somewhere that everybody can see them. These people will go stark raving mad. And I get weary of guys coming to my door and trying to get me to convert to Christianity. I have no desire to convert, but it's kind of some kind of obsession where they just won't leave other people to practice their own religion, but yet they feel they have the right to bother the hell out of you, and it's always bothered me in that respect. Anyway, I guess that's it for this one. I will catch you next time, and hopefully I have more stories of the weird and bizarre and stuff going on, and I hope you have a wonderful night and a great week. I'm going to be sitting here probably doing videos because there's nothing to watch because I don't have a TV. So I might be forced to watch one of my old movies I've got stacked up like cordwood that I haven't watched lately. All right, have a great evening and a great week. And the clock is ticking down to Super Bowl on Sunday. I hope they fix my TV before then. I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.